Hi everyone, welcome to my video, and in this video I'll be showing us how to create a date of birth replica for iOS. Like for example, when we are trying to set up an account on any social media and we are being asked to pick our date of birth, that particular interaction that we have to scroll up and down to pick the day, the month and the year is what I'll be doing in this video. Let's get started. Here is my day, the month and the year. First thing I'll be doing is to create a paging container. So I'll go to the top menu, click on the container and select paging container. I'll drag on the number, that, that's the day. So I will drag to this size and change some stuff there. Instead of paging by container, I'll change to paging by custom. Because of the height of our days, each of our days is 27. So I'll set the page by custom to 27, and I'll set the scroll to vertical, and I'll give the scroll value to be 27 also. So as for it to show in the highlighted space that this particular date that we've picked. So as you can see from the highlighted space is 27, and so as the days like each number has an height of 27. So for it to be highlighted in this space, that means it has to occupy the height of the space being given for us to know that okay, this is the particular date we are in. The next thing I'll be doing is to drag odd numbers into the paging container that I just created. So I have 1 to 5. So this is me dragging. So this is me selecting all the days and dragging it to the paging container. So let's check. I think everything is working fine now. If I'm not wrong, but there's something lagging. The number 5 is not coming to the highlighted space, so there's something needed to be done. So for that to be possible, I have to create another container that will be it will serve as number 6 with this which we have the same height with the rest of the numbers. That's 27. But it seems that I have an empty container already, which I forgot to drag into the paging container. So I'll just do that now. So this is me dragging the MC container into the paging container. So it should be working fine now. So for us to do this also, we can also do it ourselves if probably before we don't have an empty container. The reason why we I'm creating that empty container is for that number 5 to also be whenever we are scrolling up or down, for number 5 to also occupy that particular space, that highlighted space, we have to create an empty container. So this is how we can do it also. You just set the height to 27 because I have it already, so I won't be putting that one that I just created, and it's working fine now. Next thing we'll be doing now is to know how far the user scrolls the days. To do this, we will use a variable and get it to the date and store the scroll value. Here is how. We create a variable for this scene for easier reference. We name this variable to scroll. It's important to choose for this scene because we will be assigning a formula directly to this variable, and that works only for variables in a set scene. With the variable scroll selected, we will enable the use formula option from the properties panel and the formula box that appears below. You will use this formula, paging dot scroll offset. What this what this does is that paging specifies the container paging, and scroll offset return its current scroll value. The next thing I'll be doing now is to add a further interaction to this to make it smooth. So I'll be making use of chain and 3D rotate. I will add a chain trigger to the paging container. and set the value to scroll in the property panel. Then I will add the 3D rotate response to the layer 1. So I will add the 3D rotate to layer 1. I'll select 1. At the start of range 1, the scroll of paging at 0 should 3D rotate the layer 1 to 0. It remains flat as it currently is. At the end of range 1, scrolling page to 27 should rotate the layer 1 to an angle of 35 and set the rotation direction to upward. Together, these values will make layer 1 rotate from 0 to 35 upwards when the scroll of paging goes from 0 to 27. So in the same manner, we add a 3D rotate response to the layer 2. This time we need to rotate layer upward when paging is scrolled upward and rotate it downward when paging is scrolled downward. To do this, we use two ranges. For range 1, scrolling page from 0 to 27 should rotate layer 2 from -35 to 0. Since we are using a negative angle, we set the direction upward. For range 2, scrolling paging from 27 to 54, that is 27 times 2, since layer 2 is the second item, should rotate the layer 2 from 0 to 35 and set the direction upward. This process needs to be repeated for each of the base layers. So we repeat what we did in layer 2 for layer 3. That means we carry the second range from layer 2 to layer 3 and set the angle from, instead of 0 to 35, we set it from -35 to 0. Then we create another second range for layer 3, which we take 54 plus another 27. So we'll be doing this for the rest of the days. As you see in my preview window, the rotation angle for the base layers transitions instantly from 0. For example, how 4 changes from being flat to rotated when it first appears on the screen. This happens because we define 3D rotation for each of the layers for a specific scroll range. But layers such as 4 are outside of that range when the prototype starts. When they do come into that range, the 3D rotation happens instantly and might appear a bit glitchy. Usually, this feels a bit glitchy, but it can be easily fixed. And here is how. I'll click on the add trigger in the interaction panel and select start. And inside the start trigger, I will add the 3D rotation response to the layer 1. And I'll change the rotation to I'll change the rotation by to rotation 2 and set the value to 35 and set the direction upward. And then I'll set the duration to 0. So setting the duration to 0 we instantly rotate the layer to 35 as soon as the scene starts. I want the effect to be instant so that there isn't an animation visible to users when the scene starts. For the layer 2, it doesn't need a start value since it is at 0 when the scene starts by default. But for 3, 4, 5, the process above needs to be repeated with only one change. The rotate to value should be set to -35. You can see from the preview layer, this is working fine, and I have to repeat the same thing that I did for this day for the month and the year. So this is what I'll be doing next. So to repeat the same interaction for the days, I will have to go to the top menu and select page container and drag on the month and set the page container to paging by custom and set the value to 27. So it will be vertical scroll as well. Then what I'll be doing next is to rename the paging container. I will set to paging 2. Then I'll create another paging container. This will be for the year. So I will drag on the year. After doing this, I have to drag all of the values for the month and the year into their different the page container that I created for them. This is me changing the values, the scroll value for the year container. So I will have to rename the page container for the year. So this one will be layered. I will rename it to paging 3. So I will have to create a variable for these layers as well. For the page container for the one for the month and the one for the year. I have to create a scroll value for it. But before that, I have to copy all of the list item for the month into the page container. Then I'll do the same thing for year. So I'll just select everything and copy it into their different containers. As you can see from my preview window, everything is working fine, but there's something missing from it. Seems my last values, I mean the year which is 2005 and the month which is May is moving out of the highlighted space. But before that, I will correct that later, or I'll set a variable. I said the variable that we are creating is for this scene, not for all scene. So I'll just create a variable. I'll create a variable. So I'll use formula, which I'll be selecting the paging 2, and I'll be setting the scroll offset. So it will be backtick paging 2 dot scroll offset. Then I'll create another value for the year. So use formula. So it will be paging 3 dot scroll offset. Since the interaction I want to make for the month and the year, they are the same thing with the days. Instead of going back and forth and like creating another interaction entirely, so I've just copied the interaction that I have for the days and change some values there. So instead of 1, I'll change to January. So this is what I'll be doing. So I'll just copy. To make this easier, I will try to rename the interaction. Instead of chain and all these 3D rotates, I will just change it to maybe days, year, and month. So this is me changing the values. So doing this, it will make our work faster instead of going back to create a new interaction entirely, and this will usually take more time than usual.
And this is how we can use chain with 3D rotate, start and variable to create an iOS wheel picker for date of birth input field in Protopie. We can actually improve on this. Instead of stopping at 2004, we can improve it to 2010, adding more years to it. And for the months, we can complete it to December. And the days, we can make it up to 31. I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop a like, comment and share. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.